The first rule of Fight Club is, you do not talk about Fight Club.
The first rule of Fight Club is simple. You do not talk about Fight Club. But today, we're breaking that rule. Fight Club wasn't just about men throwing punches in basements. It was a rebellion on screen, against consumerism, against empty jobs, against the idea that corporations own us. Behind the scenes, chaos was real. Actors bled, studios panicked, neighbors thought aliens had landed. So let's dive into 20 weird facts about Fight Club you never knew. And trust me, the bonus fact at the end will blow your mind. 1. From flop to cult revolution. When Fight Club hit theaters in 1999, it bombed. The movie cost $63 million but made only $37 million in the US. Critics were split. Some called it genius, while Roger Ebert slammed it as macho nonsense. But then came the DVD release. College dorms echoed with Tyler Durden speeches. Video stores couldn't keep copies on the shelves. What started as a flop became a cult. A movie once called a disaster was reborn as a voice of a generation. 2. David Fincher fought for the job. David Fincher wasn't the first choice to direct. In fact, many big directors rejected the script. It was too dark, too risky. But Fincher saw a manifesto hidden in the chaos. He storyboarded whole sequences before even signing. He even cut his usual salary, just to prove how badly he wanted the job. This wasn't Hollywood ego. It was obsession. As Fincher himself once said, "You are not your job. You're not your bank account." He lived that rule to get Fight Club made. 3. Brad Pitt's broken smile. Tyler Durden didn't look like a shiny Hollywood star, and Brad Pitt made sure of that. He had an old chipped tooth capped years earlier. For Fight Club, he removed the cap, leaving his smile jagged and imperfect. Pitt said, "Tyler rejects vanity. His smile should look like it's been in fights, not in photo shoots." Studios hated the idea. Fincher loved it. That chipped tooth became a symbol. Tyler wasn't about charm. He was about truth. 4. The punch that was real. Remember when Norton's narrator first hits Tyler? That punch was not acting. Just before the cameras rolled, Fincher whispered to Norton, "Don't fake it. Hit him for real." Norton hesitated, but then punched. Pitt wasn't warned. His shocked reaction, "You hit me in the ear!" wasn't scripted. It was pure pain. Fincher kept it in. That one blow set the tone. These weren't polished fight scenes. They were messy, unpredictable, and real enough to hurt. 5. Actors became real fighters. Brad Pitt and Edward Norton didn't just pretend to fight. They trained for months, boxing, grappling, even soap making. Norton, who had never been in a real fight, admitted it awakened something primal in him. They sparred until they could take hits, fall hard, and look exhausted for real. By the time cameras rolled, they weren't actors mimicking fighters. They were amateurs who'd lived through sweat and bruises. That's why the fights in Fight Club don't look pretty. They look painfully real. 6. Meatloaf's heavy burden. Robert Bob Paulson is unforgettable. His sagging chest, his broken spirit, his need to belong. But playing Bob nearly crushed Meatloaf, both physically and emotionally. His fat suit weighed more than 30 pounds and was stuffed with birdseed to give it realistic movement. Every day, it took 3 hours to get him into costume. On top of that, Meatloaf was grieving his father's death during filming. That pain poured into his performance, especially during the heartbreaking line. His name was Robert Paulson. For Meatloaf, Bob wasn't just a role. He was a reflection of loss and sorrow. 7. Helena Bonham Carter's psychological armor. Marla Singer is chaos in human form. Sarcastic, self-destructive, and deeply broken. Helena Bonham Carter worried that playing Marla might drag her into a dark mental space. So, she created little rituals to protect herself. Between takes, she switched back to her natural British accent as a way of snapping out of Marla. She even asked makeup artists to apply her makeup left-handed, making it messy, smeared, and chaotic. Just like Marla. Off camera, Carter surrounded herself with personal trinkets to remind her who she really was. It wasn't just acting, it was survival. 8. A Starbucks cup in every scene. Ever notice all the Starbucks cups in the movie? That wasn't random. David Fincher put one in almost every scene. Not as product placement, but as satire. He said when he lived in Los Angeles, Starbucks was on every corner. So he made it part of the film's wallpaper. But Starbucks had one condition. Their stores couldn't be blown up on screen. So in the finale, Fincher replaced them with a fake brand called Gratifico Coffee. For viewers who spotted it, the irony was perfect. An anti-consumerist story drowning in the logo of the world's biggest coffee chain. 9. Tyler's subliminal appearances. Before Tyler Durden officially appears, he's already haunting the movie. Fincher added single-frame flashes of Tyler in the first act, at the doctor's office, in the workplace, even in support groups. Each flash lasts just 1/24th of a second, too quick for the eye, but strong enough for the brain to notice. Viewers often said something felt off, but couldn't explain why. It was psychological trickery. By the time Tyler walks into full view, it feels like he's always been there. Not an introduction, an invasion. 10. The chemical burn that made crew faint. The scene where Tyler burns a kiss-shaped scar into the narrator's hand looks horrifyingly real. Some even believed real chemicals were used. They weren't, but the illusion was intense. Special effects artist Rob Bottin created layered prosthetics to show the burn in stages. Norton studied real burn victims to copy their reactions. A harmless heating gel on his hand gave him genuine stinging pain. The result was so disturbing that one cameraman fainted while filming close-ups. Fincher didn't want movie pain. He wanted pain that looked and felt real, and he got it. 11. Brad Pitt's improvised madness. Not everything about Tyler Durden was in the script. Brad Pitt added many of Tyler's quirks himself. The weird laugh, the finger drumming, the casual lip-licking. It was all Pitt. He even studied animals at a zoo to give Tyler a predator-like energy. Fincher loved it. Many of Tyler's sharp one-liners about consumerism were also improvised during rehearsals. Pitt didn't just play Tyler Durden. He unleashed him, turning him into a creature that was half hero, half villain, and impossible to ignore. 12. The fights that changed cinema. Most Hollywood fights look like dance routines. Clean, choreographed, almost pretty. Fincher wanted the opposite. He hired Jeff Imada, a fight choreographer who made the brawls look sloppy, painful, and exhausting. Punches missed. Fighters slipped. They got tired. They looked desperate. Pitt and Norton trained not to look strong, but to look human. The style was so raw that it influenced later movies, even before MMA fighting became popular. As Imada put it, we wanted beautiful violence that looked ugly. 13. The DVD that saved Fight Club. In theaters, Fight Club looked like a disaster, but the DVD release turned it into legend. By 2000, college students were treating it like gospel. Video stores couldn't keep copies in stock. The special edition DVD had 4 commentary tracks, deleted scenes, and even fake menus that confused viewers on purpose. Entertainment Weekly later called it one of the most important DVDs ever made. In its first decade, it sold over 6 million copies. The film that failed at the box office became a must-own item. Irony at its finest. The anti-consumerist movie became a hit through consumerism. 14. Real Fight Club started. The story was never meant to be a how-to guide, but some fans treated it that way. After the DVD release, police reported secret fight clubs appearing in the US, the UK, and even Australia. Men were meeting in basements, copying Tyler's speeches word for word. Some even called themselves Project Mayhem. Both Fincher and author Chuck Palahniuk were disturbed. Palahniuk admitted that people had misunderstood the novel. It wasn't an instruction manual, but audiences turned fiction into reality. Tyler Durden had followers outside the screen. 15. A film that split generations. Fight Club didn't just split critics, it split society. Gen X and early millennials embraced it as a cry of freedom from dull jobs and consumer culture. They quoted Tyler during the 2008 financial crisis like he was a prophet, but older generations saw the movie as dangerous, even toxic. To them, it looked like a celebration of violence and nihilism. That divide never disappeared. Some saw truth, others saw chaos. Few films create a cultural earthquake that lasts decades. Fight Club did. The Venice Film Festival, Walkout Fight Club, premiered at the Venice Film Festival in 1999, and it shocked the room. During Marla's infamous line, "I haven't been bleep like that since grade school," the festival's director stood up and walked out. The rest of the audience sat in uneasy silence. No claps, no cheers, just whispers. Up in the balcony, Brad Pitt leaned over to Norton and laughed, whispering, "This will be the best movie we ever make." The premiere made one thing clear. Fight Club wasn't built to please everyone. It was built to provoke. 17. Rosie O'Donnell spoiled the ending. 1 week before the US release, Rosie O'Donnell saw a private screening. She hated it. On her talk show, she ranted about how disturbing it was, then spoiled the twist ending on live TV and told viewers not to watch it. Brad Pitt later called it unforgivable. Norton was stunned. Fincher believed it hurt the film's box office. Imagine working for years on a movie, only to have one of America's biggest talk show hosts ruin the ending for millions. The irony? Her rant actually made the film more infamous. 18. Exploding real landmarks. The final shot of collapsing skyscrapers wasn't just some random skyline. Fincher digitally recreated real Los Angeles landmarks, including Fox Plaza, the same building used in Die Hard. Why those? Because the studio owned them, meaning no lawsuits. The VFX team animated millions of shards of glass, frame by frame. Fincher even joked in meetings. Building 3 needs to collapse more slowly. The result? A finale so real it looked like Hollywood was destroying its own headquarters. 19. Every logo was damaged. Look closely at the background props. Every corporate logo in Fight Club, whether it's IKEA, Starbucks, or office supplies, is cracked, scratched, or defaced. It's so subtle most people miss it, but subconsciously, it tells you the truth. The world of Fight Club is already falling apart. Fincher called it a visual metaphor for capitalism breaking down. While Tyler screams about rejecting consumerism, the set itself screams the same thing, quietly but constantly. 20. A story born from a real beating. Author Chuck Palahniuk didn't invent Fight Club out of thin air. On a camping trip, he got into an argument with strangers. They beat him badly. When he returned to work with a swollen face, no one asked what happened. That silence haunted him. People didn't want to acknowledge violence, even when it was obvious. From that came the idea of men creating a place where they could face violence directly. Palahniuk later said, "The scariest part wasn't the fight. It was how no one cared." Bonus fact, Tyler was always there. Here's the secret most fans never notice. Tyler Durden doesn't just appear halfway through the movie, he's there from the very start. In the opening credits, during the cigarette burn effect, a single frame of Tyler flashes, a subliminal invasion. Fincher admitted he wanted audiences to feel haunted before they even met him. Tyler wasn't just the narrator's hallucination. He was ours too. From the first flicker to the last collapsing building, Tyler was always watching,